and this militancy was all sponsored, as you're aware, from Pakistan.
One of the most biggest medal आपको मिला है by the president sir is
Veer Vishish Seva Medal. It didn't matter that Modi ji or the Home Minister was sitting there. I was more concerned about my wife and my father and my family who was sitting there,
Okay.
you know, and how they would be feeling.
आज के हमारे गेस्ट है विक्रम देव डोगरा सर, राष्ट्रपति द्वारा सम्मानित। आज इस एपिसोड में हम जानेंगे जम्मू एंड कश्मीर आर्टिकल 370 से पहले कैसा दिखता था, कैसे उन्होंने 58 इयर्स की उम्र में आयरन मैन का टाइटल जीता। आज हमने विक्रम सर के थ्रू इंडियन मिलिट्री का रॉ और रियल साइड जानने का कोशिश किया। इन सब के बारे में हम इस एपिसोड में बात करेंगे।
गोरखास को बहुत सरफिरा खाया जाता है सर। Major General Vikram Dev Dogra, right?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to Off the Record, sir. Thank you for coming on this podcast because this is one of the best podcasts in my life that I'm going to start with. And सबसे पहले हम आपके जर्नी के ऊपर बात करते हैं
Okay.
कि कैसे आपकी 37 इयर्स की जर्नी रही है पूरे मिलिट्री में। फिर आपने एक आयरन मैन का अवार्ड जीता है सर, तो ये एक नॉर्मल इंसान नहीं जीत सकता मेरे हिसाब से सर। और आप बहुत ज़्यादा एक इंस्पिरेशन रह चुके हो सर, बिकॉज एक प्रेसिडेंट्स के हाथ में एक हाईएस्ट ऑनर तक के अवार्ड्स लेना, वो एक्सपीरियंसेस पाना, वो बहुत टफ चीज़ है सर। एंड स्टार्ट आपकी जर्नी से करते हैं सर कि कैसे आप में वो जुनून आया कि आपको मिलिट्री में ही जाना था सर, और इंडियन मिलिट्री में सर। वो कहाँ से आया सर? आपके डैड मिलिट्री में थे या यू wanted to go as a first generation person from the military?
So मेरे फादर मिलिट्री में थे.
Okay.
And जब से मैं 3 या 4 साल का था, I used to see him going to office in his uniform. And uniforms look very glamorous. So मैं हमेशा उनकी यूनिफॉर्म देख के पहले इम्प्रेस होता था, और फिर जैसे जैसे मैं बड़ा हुआ मैंने उनका लाइफस्टाइल देखा। वो कैसे उनके ऑफिसेज में क्या चैलेंजेस होते थे, डिफरेंट पोस्टिंग्स में वो जाते थे, जो वहाँ पे गन्स एंड वेपन्स एंड बाकी एनवायरनमेंट रहती थी। तो मैं उनसे बहुत इंस्पायर हुआ। एंड एज यू आर अवेयर, योर डैड इज़ योर फर्स्ट मेंटर, योर फर्स्ट इंस्पिरेशन, योर फर्स्ट टीचर, एंड सो ही वॉज माइन, एंड आई वॉन्टेड टू बी लाइक हिम. So somewhere around the age of 4 or 5, I decided if I do anything in life, I'm going to join the army. And from there onwards, it never changed. And so much so that my parents also started believing, no, he's going to join the army. He's going to join the army. So if somebody asks, ye kya karega bada hoke? First answer, he's going to join the army. So it just got sealed. And I never gave it a second thought, and I never looked at another profession.
So start कैसे, आपका स्टार्ट पोस्टिंग किधर हुआ सर फर्स्ट?
तो पहले तो क्या है कि स्कूल के बाद आपको इंडिया में जाना पड़ता है.
Okay.
नेशनल डिफेंस एकेडमी, जिसमें 3 साल होता है आपकी ट्रेनिंग. एंड आप स्कूल से निकले होते हो एब्सोल्युटली रॉ, 16 years old. You feel you have arrived because you passed the NDA examination and come to an institution. और वहाँ जाके जब रगड़ा लगता है, जब सीनियर्स आपकी चाबी लगाते हैं, आपको ट्रेनिंग होती है, ऐसी ऐसी ट्रेनिंग, ऐसी ऐसी चीज़ें कराते हैं जो आपने कभी लाइफ में सोचा भी नहीं होगा. Physical, military, strenuous as far as your mind is concerned. So it changes you. It makes you from a boy into a man. And then you pass out of the National Defense Academy 3 साल के बाद. आपकी ग्रेजुएशन भी वहीं होती है, चाहे आप साइंस में ग्रेजुएट करो या आर्ट्स में ग्रेजुएट करो. और उसके बाद आपको इंडियन मिलिट्री एकेडमी में भेजते हैं, जो कि देहरादून में है, 1 साल के लिए. और देहरादून में आपकी स्पेसिफिक ट्रेनिंग मिलिट्री के लिए होती है.
Okay.
और वहाँ फिर से आपको सेम काइंड ऑफ रगड़ा, मगर अभी आप थोड़े से ज़्यादा उसको यू गेट यूज्ड टू इट, सो इट डजंट ट्रबल यू सो मच बिकॉज 3 years you've already been acclimatized. एंड फिर आप जब कमीशन होते हो, फिर आप सेकंड लेफ्टिनेंट बन के जाते हो. और मैं जब कमीशन हुआ तो मेरी पोस्टिंग जम्मू में हुई थी. कालुच्चा की एक जगह है, जम्मू से 10 किलोमीटर शॉर्ट, वहाँ पे हुई थी मेरी.
Sir, when I look at you, sir, even इतने एज में भी you have that personality, sir. तो आज जब भी मैं ट्रेन से ट्रैवल करता हूँ अपने जॉब पे जाने के लिए सर, जब मैं फौजी को देखता हूँ ना सर दूर से, मैं समझ जाता हूँ, मतलब वो एक सिविलियन ड्रेस में भी रहता है, मैं समझ जाता हूँ सर, बिकॉज ऑफ द पर्सनालिटी दे कैरी सर. आपने अभी बताया कि मेरी ऐसी ट्रेनिंग की गई थी, तो मुझे आप वो बताओ कि आपकी ट्रेनिंग कैसे हुई थी सर, जो आप इस वे में, इस पर्सनालिटी में आप ढल गए सर?
क्या होता है कि वहाँ आपकी ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग ऐसे हो जाती है, देयर इज नो स्पेसिफिक ट्रेनिंग टू मेक यू लाइक दिस।
Okay.
बट क्या करते हैं, पूरा जो प्रोसेस वो ये है कि आपने जो उस 16 साल में पहले सीखा है उसको अनलर्न करना होता है।
ओके।
सो दे ब्रेक यू एंड देन दे मेक यू। ठीक है, क्योंकि आपको एक दे हैव टू मोल्ड यू इनटू अ न्यू फॉर्मेट, एंड उस फॉर्मेट में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो है इज लीडरशिप, बिकॉज दे आर ट्रेनिंग यू टू बी एन ऑफिसर, एंड एन ऑफिसर हैज टू लीड, and you can only lead by personal example. You don't lead, people don't follow you because you're wearing stars or you're wearing a rank. They will respect you only if they trust you, they trust your competence, your leadership, and then they will follow you even into death. So you have to be trained to be that. And वो बनाने के लिए फिर आपकी ट्रेनिंग ऐसी होनी चाहिए that you, like I said, become an icon for the people you lead. You become their inspiration. So obviously that means you must be good, and they teach you and train you to be good. So सुबह 5 बजे आपका दिन स्टार्ट होता है एनडीए में, और रात को 10:30 तक खत्म होता है।
10:30
रात को सारा दिन में आपकी मार्चिंग होती है, फिजिकल फिटनेस होती है, स्विमिंग, राइडिंग, गेम्स, एंड लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, you're doing a graduation either in arts or in science. So there are classes, academic classes. And then there are other things like military subjects, how to fire guns, bayonet, training, field craft, and ऐसे करके बहुत सारे subjects होते हैं. And you are given an exposure to each one of them, and you are taught to become proficient in them. And that is how they make you. And then there is the pressure of, one I told you, 5 in the morning to 10:30. Then there's the pressure, psychological pressure of your seniors, who are also going with the mission that we will make men out of these boys. So while sometimes they overdo it also, you must have heard of people getting ragged and stuff like that. So all that happens out here, and then maybe a little more exaggerated here, because not exaggerated but a little more, I would say, more pronounced because of the military academy kind of thing. So that is how you are trained. And spirit de corps, that's one for all and all for one. So if you're a course of, say, 20 people in one squadron, and one guy makes a mistake, all 20 are punished.
Oh.
And that is what builds the bonhomie. So you curse him and you crave that इसके करके हमको रगड़ा लग रहा है, but it brings you together.
Yes.
So when you're put together and through tough times together, your bonding improves, and so you become brothers in arms. Yeah. So that is how they teach you.
ऐसे बनते हैं भाई सर फिर मिलिट्री में? ऐसे इतना टीम एफर्ट
हाँ,
होता है कि
बिकॉज टीम मिलिट्री में आपकी लाइफ डिपेंड करती है ना आपके मेट्स के ऊपर। जैसे मैं एक आर्मर्ड रेजिमेंट से हूँ, टैंकों में हम ऑपरेट करते हैं, तो टैंक में 3 आदमी होते हैं, एक ड्राइवर, एक गनर, एक आप कमांडर। एक की भी मिस्टेक होगी तो तीनों की जान जाएगी, ठीक है ना। और जो कमांडर होता है उसके नीचे चाहे 3 टैंक हो, चाहे 14 टैंक हो, चाहे 45 टैंक हो, उसकी मिस्टेक से दूसरों की लाइफ जाएगी। सो यू हैव टू ऑल बी इन सिंक्रोनाइजेशन विद ईच अदर, and you have to all be pulling in the same direction. It can't be that somebody tells you turn right and half are gone left and half are gone right, है ना। So like that. So they train you like that to be.
सर मैं ये रेजिमेंट पर आऊँगा सर, बट आपने बहुत मज़ेदार चीज़ बोली कि सुबह 5 बजे से आपका स्केड्यूल चालू होता था और रात के 10:30 ख़त्म होता था सर। तो इधर तो 5 घंटे भी शायद आपको मुश्किल मिलते रहेंगे सोने के लिए सर। तो
हाँ, नहीं, खड़े खड़े सोते हैं वहाँ तो।
खड़े
लेटने की जरूरत नहीं है। हाँ, I've seen people sleeping, yeah, standing.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh man.
क्लास में ऐसे करके बैठे हैं, सब्जेक्ट चल रहा है, आंखें खोली हैं, you're switched off, you're sleeping because you need that sleep. इतनी फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग के बाद आपको मालूम है नींद कैसे आती है। And वो आपकी स्टेज ऐसी होती है लाइफ में जहाँ नींद ज्यादा चाहिए होती है आपको। हाँ,
तो खड़े खड़े सो जाते थे।
हाँ, खड़े खड़े सोते हैं लोग।
कैसे कैसे मार पड़ती थी फिर सर?
हर टाइप की मार पड़ती है, रोलिंग, क्रॉलिंग, हॉन्चिंग, पता नहीं क्या क्या पड़ती है। हाँ,
लेकिन सब एक्सपीरियंसेस से गुजरे हैं सर।
आई फील इन हाइंडसाइट बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है, एंड टुडे व्हाटएवर आई एम, आई ओwe it to the training I got in the NDA and the IMA.
ओके
Yeah.
सर मुझे एक बात बताइए, आपने बताया कि आपको ये ट्रेनिंग के कारण आपकी एक पर्सनालिटी शेप हुई। बहुत सारी कंट्रीज़ में हर यूथ के लिए कंपल्सरी सेशन बना दिया गया है टू जॉइन द मिलिट्री। डू यू थिंक वी शुड डू दैट इन इंडिया एज़ वेल?
एक तो मैं आपको पहले करेक्ट करूंगा,
ओके,
किसी कंट्री में नहीं है।
ओके,
जो आपने बोला ना बहुत सारी कंट्रीज में है।
ओके।
ये पहले होता था। आज की तारीख में आई थिंक इसराइल को छोड़ के
इज़राइल को छोड़ के,
और
यस।
कहीं नहीं है।
हुँ,
और ये उन कंट्रीज में तब होता था जब लोग फौज में ज्वाइन नहीं करना चाहते।
अच्छा।
अब इंडिया में ये ज़रूरी नहीं है, क्योंकि यहाँ तो लाइन लगी हुई है लोगों की। अगर आपको 10 आदमी चाहिए तो 10,000 आते हैं भर्ती होने के लिए। तो आई डोंट थिंक हमें ये आर्मी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से करना है। जो आप बता रहे हो वो ये है कि सबको ज्वाइन कराओ ताकि उनका डिसिप्लिन ठीक हो जाए। बट आर्मी इज़ नॉट मेंट टू डिसिप्लिन द सिविल पॉपुलेशन। अगर आपको वैसा करना है तो आप अकेडमी खोलो ना दूसरी, जिसमें आप हर स्टूडेंट को डालो ताकि उनका डिसिप्लिन ठीक हो जाए, या हर कॉलेज में आप इसको इंस्टीट्यूट करो ताकि उनका डिसिप्लिन ठीक हो जाए। या देर आर सो मेनी वेज टू डू इट।
एब्सोल्युटली।
But I don't think you need to get people to join the army only from the point of view that they will become better citizens. You can make better citizens of people even otherwise.
Because I think the way Japanese economy was framed after US dropped the 2 major bombs on them, उनको अपनी military give up करनी पड़ी थी, and through military guys they were turned into leaders, and they went and made the biggest brands to the world, right? Given the biggest brands to the world. So when I see that, sir, civilian population को उतना exposure नहीं है of how discipline works, how even losing a minute can cost you your life. Small values of gratitude, वो मुझे कॉमन लाइफ में नहीं दिख जाता है। आज हम लोग की ट्रेन अगर 15 मिनट्स भी लेट हो जाए ना सर, हम लोग अपनी गवर्नमेंट को गाली देना चालू कर देते हैं सर। तो द ओनली रीज़न आई आस्क्ड यू दिस बिकॉज द अमाउंट ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड the calmness it brings to you when you join military, the values, the core values that I see right now in you, the calmness that I see right now in you, that brings. So the only reason I asked you that question कि हम लोग को वो या तो अपने कॉलेज सिलेबस में ऐड कर देना चाहिए, बिकॉज बहुत सारे मिलिट्री स्कूल्स है, ऐसा नहीं है मिलिट्री स्कूल्स नहीं है, लेकिन एक एम के साथ नहीं है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है।
So when you talk of calmness, the calmness you see in me comes over 65 years. But when I was your age, or when I was a young second lieutenant, I don't think I was so calm. I was charged up and I was ready to take on the whole world. And if the train was late, of course, I cursed everybody also. It's not that I would accept, train later, so chalo, theek hai, koi baat nahi. No. So I think this calmness comes out of experience and over a period of time with maturity. And जो पहली बात आप बोल रहे थे, as far as discipline and some values are concerned, I still hold the viewpoint that our current institutions which are teaching people can imbibe many practices where they can make sure this is put into people, but it's required.
आपने बताया कि आप टैंक रेजिमेंट से आते थे सर, आपकी पोस्टिंग जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में हुई है सर। जब आर्टिकल 370 नहीं था तो जो मिलिटेंसी अपने पीक पर थी सर, आपने वो एक्सपीरियंस किया है सर। यू हैव बीन इनटू मेनी मिशंस सर। सो मुझे आपका एक्सपीरियंस बताइए सर कि कैसा जम्मू एंड कश्मीर वो टाइम का था, कैसे सिविलियंस थे वहाँ पर। शायद आपको द वे मूवीज़ में दिखाया जाता है कि आपको सपोर्ट किया जाएगा या नहीं किया जाएगा, शायद आप पे आपके सिविलियंस ही आपको बैकआउट कर दे। कैसे एक्सपीरियंसेस आपने जेल में बताइए सर।
स्टार्ट, एक तो I belong to Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, now that's
my mother's from Jammu.
Okay.
And therefore that is my home state. And I have visited Srinagar in the 70s, and it was a beautiful place. I've done skiing on the Dal Lake and those houseboats, those shikaras and all that. It's very nice and peaceful. And then militancy came sometime in the late 80s when it went to its peak. And वहाँ पे क्या हुआ, जैसे militancy आई, and this militancy was all sponsored, as you're aware, from Pakistan, where people came in. The militants were not only local, they also picked up local youth who were trained there and sent back, but they also inducted a lot of people from their own side and also people from different countries around Pakistan, like Afghanistan and some other people, because they were basically mercenaries. They were people who were paid to go and carry out attacks, and there was a price put on every rank. You kill a lieutenant, आपको इतना पैसा मिलेगा. You kill a captain, इतना मिलेगा. You kill a colonel, इतना मिलेगा. So there was like a rate list कि ये करो, and it was more for money that those people came, and the aim of Pakistan was clear, just to create a whole lot of turmoil and try and take away Kashmir. So that happened in the late 80s, early 90s when militancy went on and speak. The valley was like a ghost town. I've been there in the peak of militancy. You couldn't see anybody on the roads. It was like people don't live here. Everyone was there, but सब अपने घरों के अंदर, क्योंकि माहौल ऐसा हो गया था. And as the situation kept getting bad, more and more military was pumped in. Not only army, but CRPF, BSF, and so on and so on, central forces, which were pumped in all to basically contain the militancy, the problem which was happening there. And you are aware how that carried on. And one of the big problems was that because it was supported, whenever there was anything of consequence happening in Srinagar, these people would come out and pelt stones, because stone pelting is, it's a very effective way to disrupt anything or to create chaos. Now, when Article 370 was abrogated, and thereafter the control became central, so you must have noticed the stone pelting part finished. The militants also got the message that now there's going to be business. And the support from the local people also reduced because of the kind of impact that the government now had in that area. But Pakistan, on the consequence, consequent to this, they wanted to still show that though you have abrogated 370, nothing has changed as far as militancy is concerned. And so they went into an overdrive to pump in militants and carry out incidents so that it can catch global attention. So whenever you have a event or a visit from abroad happening, some foreign dignitary coming, you would see there would be a militant attack prior to that, so that there is focus, global focus goes that militancy is alive. But I think 370 removal was one of the best decisions and long outstanding decisions which should have happened many years ago, which the government took. Because consequent to that, smart city, the development which has taken place, the shops are open, people are enjoying themselves. Your G20, there was a part of the summit held out there. You must have also seen recently the Grand Prix was held around the Dal Lake. They had these racing cars and bikes doing stuff. And people have really taken a liking to it. So the whole situation has changed, not for the army, but for the civilian population. The army's role still remains the same because, like I said, Pakistan is still trying to show the world that nothing has changed, even though 370 is gone. And in that attempt, they push in militants and things like that.
You told me the terrorism was at its peak at 1980s, sir. घोस्ट टाउन बन चुका था, नीचे कोई नहीं दिखता था सर. आपको कभी मरने का डर लगा सर?
Of course. मेरे को क्या, सबको लगता है. And it's only that you get used to it. After some time, how long can you just keep sitting scared? पहले दिन जाओ तो ऐसा लगता है पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ से कोई भी आपको मार सकता है. And as some time passes, it's like you get acclimatized to it. And you start living with that fear, which becomes like the importance of that fear reduces. Although you are cautious all the while, you have your antennas up because one mistake and it can be your last. So the fear comes down, but your attention should not. And when you find people sometimes do get into wrong situations, it is because they have let their guard down. They got used to the situation, let their guard down, and then got into trouble. So there is fear.
तो आप डरे हो सर?
Yeah. It's normal, na?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm a bit speechless on that, but I'll come back. सर, जब आपने एक टीम को भी लीड किया है एज अ मेजर कमांडर सर, तो मुझे ये बताइए सर, जब आपकी टीम में किनको गोली लगती थी या कोई शहीद होता था सर, तो आपको कैसे फील होता था? सबसे ज़्यादा आपको गिल्टी फील होता था? How would you feel,
So
sir?
I'll be honest, in my team, there has never been a guy who's got shot up.
Okay.
But I can very well relate to what would be happening to people
Okay.
who lose or have their buddies and comrades getting shot.
Okay.
So you are on a mission, and the mission is the most important. And during that mission, you'll find one of your buddies getting hit, whether he's wounded or he may even die. Now, you can't jeopardize the mission. And you are now stuck in a dilemma because you have somebody who's injured, but you still have a mission at hand. And so, at that situation, you have to take a decision, keeping these in mind as to how to look after your comrade who's got injured and yet not jeopardize the mission. So, you may have to divert resources for looking after the comrade. But should your mission be such that you cannot divert resources, then you'll have to just give first aid, leave the comrade there, and go ahead. And it is a very, very, I would say, emotionally challenging thing for this to happen. Imagine your friend has got hit and you can't stay back with him. So you are like torn between your mission and your comrade.
दुख होता है सर जब
Obviously.
दुख से ज़्यादा सर रिवेंज लेने का फीलिंग आता है सर रिवेंज
I think it's normal. Revenge lene ka feeling. I would not call it revenge. You are anyway, you're going there for a mission, and that is still, so that mindset doesn't change. But there is anger, there is frustration, because something has happened despite all the precaution you took. Something happened.
सर मेरे को एक बात बताइए, हमने अभी POK पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर के ऊपर बात किया, हम लोग ने जो आर्टिकल 370 के ऊपर बात किया सर हम सबके बारे में बात करते हैं, लेकिन एक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट हमारा हिस्सा चाइना के पास भी है सर. हम लोग कभी भी वो मुद्दा नहीं उठाते सर. इधर जियोपॉलिटिकली, इधर आई हैव not seen any military person that has been near to me talking about it sir. उसको एक बहुत सीक्रेट इशू बना के रखा है हमने, बट हम लोग कभी एक्नॉलेज नहीं करते. आवर फेलो प्राइम मिनिस्टर केम ऑन टीवी एंड दे सेड हम लोग एक भी लैंड ऑक्यूपाई नहीं होने देंगे. एंड लकीली मैं एक वन ऑफ माई फेलो कलीग्स वर्क विथ मी, कम्स टू माई कैब ओनली व्हेन आई लीव टू माई हाउस फ्रॉम ऑफिस. उनके बड़े भाई पोस्टेड है सर टू द अपर जम्मू एंड कश्मीर वेयर चाइना हैज़ ऑक्यूपाइड इट सर. तो मुझे बताओ वो क्या सिचुएशन है सर, वो कहाँ से चालू हुआ और क्या अभी सिचुएशन है सर?
So I assume you are talking of what happened recently with China.
Yes,
isn't it?
absolutely.
Now the problem with China is जब independence मिला इंडिया को, so there is a gentleman called McMahon who drew a line on a map to say this is the boundary between India and China. But the map used was of a small scale and the line was thick. So when you translate it onto ground, it was something very disputable. That ये area India was claiming हमारा यहाँ तक है, China ने कहा नहीं यहाँ हमारा है, and therefore you had the first problem of 1962, which happened, the war with China, and consequent to that, then they decided, okay, we will follow. This is the place up to which China will be. This is the place where India will be, and there is a land mass in between, in which we can do our patrolling. Okay, so that still holds good. Now, when this problem happened recently, about 2-3 years back, which you're talking about with China, whatever I know is what you know, because I don't know the inside story. I was not there, but what the media reported. And what I can make out is that the Chinese probably occupied areas in that land which was supposed to be like no man's territory. Okay, between Indian control, Chinese control, and the area in between, they came forward and sat there. Okay, and when the Prime Minister says that nobody has come inside, he talks of the side up to where the Indians were holding. He doesn't talk of the no man's land. Okay, and they didn't come into the Indian side; they came into the no man's area. So I think that is what has happened, and that is where it's a play of words. That koi andar nahi aaya ya nahi aaya. Somebody's telling you no, they've occupied. Somebody says they're not occupied. It's how you are portraying it. Okay, so there is no doubt in anybody's mind that there was movement. That's why the skirmish took place where we lost 20 of our soldiers. Otherwise, why would that fight happen at all if everything was status quo? So there were movements. The Indians also moved forward some places. The Chinese moved forward some places. But then it is not something alarming. Okay, these are not things which are uncommon because they happen all the while where there are the borders are not well defined. So there's no international border defined out there, and therefore that line of control can shift.
Can shift.
Okay, and it's only mutual that you sit down and decide, okay, we will not move forward. So they have laid down certain things that up to so many kilometers can't do construction, or you can't build roads, or you can't do stuff like that, and this is by mutual agreement. So I personally feel it's not something of which we need to be too concerned about. Of course, the military is concerned about it, and the media puts it in a manner that it's the ultimate which is
Yeah,
happening
I know,
out
right?
there. Yeah, but when you talk to people who are actually on ground, well, it's a day-to-day thing which happens there. Something or the other keeps happening when militaries are sitting so close to each other.
So tell me one more thing, sir. You said 1962 war. सर हम लोग ने 2 wars लड़े चाइना से एंड हम दोनों हार गए सर एक्चुअली उनसे wars. सर
दो वॉर कौन से?
चाइना विद
एक ही है ना 62 का?
62 का. उसके बाद भी हम लोग ने एक और वॉर लड़ा
नहीं.
90s में जो हम लोग ने अरुणाचल.
नहीं, there was no other war with
Okay.
China.
Okay.
The only war with China is 1962.
Okay.
Apart from that, there have only been these small incidents which have been happening throughout.
Okay.
Yeah. And in a number of them, we have also inflicted damage, and they have inflicted damage. And they have not been publicized as much. Aajkal kya ho gaya, because of the transparency and the connectivity, because of internet, WhatsApp, people are sending out messages. Some may be true, some may be
False.
half true, some may be even motivated to mislead. So that is how it's percolating. But there's been only one war with China.
सर क्या गलत किया हम लोग ने वो वॉर में आपके हिसाब से? यू बीइंग अ मिलिट्री पर्सनल सर, व्हाट डू यू थिंक वेंट रॉन्ग इन दैट वॉर दैट वी लॉस्ट इट? बिकॉज जोश तो बहुत था सर, इतना मेरे को समझता
but you don't fight wars with only Josh.
Okay.
So although we keep saying it's the man behind the machine which matters, yes, of course he matters, but you need equipment and you need proper weapons. And that was a time when we were not prepared for war, because that time the Prime Minister Nehru, he was saying we don't need a military. We are a peace-loving country. We will be peace with all our neighbors. And he wanted to use the military to construct barracks and roads and stuff like that. He says, ये खाली बैठे हैं, इनको कुछ काम नहीं, इनको ये कराओ. So the focus for going to battle was not there. So when the Chinese attacked us and our troops were moved, they went totally unprepared. They didn't even have cold clothing, winter clothing. Some of them just went up with sweaters. And the weapons that they had were those 303 guns where you had to cock every time to fire a round. So we were short of equipment. We didn't have the correct equipment. The men were not kitted properly. They didn't have snow boots. They didn't have jackets. We got a lot of aid sent in by America. But there's a gestation period between the war starting and aid coming, and that aid then being spread around. So everything, if you say, was wrong. Not what was wrong. I think everything was wrong. We were ill prepared, and we bore the brunt of it, and we paid the price. But having said that, it all changed after that. The army started looking inwards. Even the government realized that you can't just say that we don't need an army involved. And thereafter, it's never been like that.
सर अगर मिलिट्री, मैंने हमेशा कहावत सुनी है सर कि अगर मिलिट्री स्ट्रॉन्ग चाहिए तो दिल्ली का जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर है वो बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग चाहिए. तो हाउ मच ऑफ दैट स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू सर?
So इसमें क्या है, it's not कि military की strength is because of the prime minister's strength. The military has a capability. The capability of the military depends upon the equipment, the human resource quality, their training, their morale. Okay? So that's a constant with the military. The morale of the military can be affected by the policies of the government. But I don't think any government will try and bring down the morale of the military. Now, when you say the strength of the Prime Minister, that is the will of the Prime Minister to be able to take a strong decision. पाकिस्तान ने कुछ किया, मान लो जैसे अपना वो हुआ 26/11. Now, if the Prime Minister has to say, okay, go and take revenge, carry out a strike into Pakistan, he needs the guts to do that. He needs his own will should be there. The military's capability is constant. अगर वो बोलता है नहीं कुछ मत करो तो मिलिट्री की कैपेबिलिटी है मगर आपने कुछ किया नहीं,
मोरल डाउन कर दिया.
मोरल डाउन नहीं है मगर मिलिट्री को आपने टास्क ही नहीं दिया. आपके पास हथियार है आपने यूज नहीं किया तो हथियार इज इनइफेक्टिव. आपके पास हथियार है आपने यूज किया तो आपका हथियार से इफेक्ट होगा. सो रियली द मिलिट्री इज एन इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ द स्टेट एंड द प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स विल टू यूज इट इज व्हाट यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. कितना दम है प्राइम मिनिस्टर.
सर आप अभी पॉलिटिक्स की बात कर ही रहे तो सर ये सवाल जो निकाल देते हैं सर कि मिलिट्री में पॉलिटिक्स होता है सर.
वेल आई थिंक घर में पॉलिटिक्स होता है ना तो सब जगह पॉलिटिक्स होता है मगर उस टाइप का पॉलिटिक्स नहीं है. देखो wherever there are humans together there has to be politics but it is different from the politics that we as Indians it's normal politics. No, I like you, I don't like so and so, ये भी politics है. So that is I think in every environment. I will not call it politics but I will call it the way people when they are together when they behave with each other is the same in the military. Of course we are a little more conscious. We try and be as fair as possible but you know we are all human. And जब आप human हो तो आपको एक बंदा हो सकता है अच्छा लगे, एक कम लगे अच्छा, एक लोकेशन बेटर है उसके लिए 2 लोगों ने जाना है तो एक ही को भेज सकते हो आप. तो उसकी पोस्टिंग में हो सकता है थोड़ा सा कोई फेवरेटिज्म हो जाए, उसको आप पॉलिटिक्स बोलते हो. क्या बोलते हो उसका?
सर गोरखास को बहुत सरफिरा कहा जाता है सर. क्यों ऐसा सर? बिकॉज उनका वे सर मैंने एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ देखी है सर. हर कंट्री में ना एक वे होता है हर मिलिट्री ट्रेन होने का, लेकिन इंडिया एक अकेली ऐसी कंट्री है कि अगर आप एक स्टेट में चले जाओ उनकी मिलिट्री अलग ट्रेन हो रही है, गोरखास की मिलिट्री का ट्रेनिंग लेवल अलग है सर. हर एक जैसे यहाँ पे अगर गोरखास की बात करें तो वो बहुत शिवाजी से बहुत इन्फ्लुएंस्ड रहते हैं सर, लेकिन आप किसी दूसरे रेजिमेंट में चले जाओ तो सर वो बहुत एक डिफरेंट लीडर से, कोर सबका सेम है सर लेकिन सबकी ट्रेनिंग्स डिफरेंट है सर.
No, I don't think what you're saying is not right.
Okay.
Gorkhas are basically people who were erstwhile from Nepal.
Okay.
है ना? And once they are in the Indian Army, training is same. चाहे गोरखास की हो, चाहे डोगरास की हो, जाट की हो, सिख की हो, सबकी सेम ट्रेनिंग होती है. ठीक है? Who, because they are different people, everybody has their own inspirations and their own battle cry. So, for example,
Absolutely, battle cry.
Yeah. So that is different for every kind of troops.
Okay.
Like somebody might say Jai Mata Di, some might say Ayo Gorkhali, somebody might say Jai Durge Mata. So it's all depending on who is your god. Okay, because you use God as a force to galvanize people. Like a Sikh पलटन will say सत श्री अकाल, okay, जो बोले सो निहाल, सत श्री अकाल, और टैग कर दिया. तो you are galvanizing people and their morale and their you bringing them into that kind of favor because of religion, and that is a motivational force. So that may be different, but training सबकी एक ही जैसी है. 2 Indians are talking, they're speaking in Hindi. And Apaki will join in also in Hindi because he's the only guy understanding what you're saying, So those kind of things. So there was a born homie out there, and that finishes the moment you get back to your country. Yeah. Also, Angola had 9 million mines which were unaccounted for. Nobody knew where those mines are.
वापस बताइए सर.
So Angola was is a Portuguese colony which got independence in 1975.
Okay.
After that, it went into civil war. We had one faction which was supported by the United States and the other by the USSR at that time. And each one of them was there only for one purpose, to get hold of the natural resources of Angola, because it's the second richest country in Africa after South Africa. Got abundant diamonds, petroleum.
ब्लड डायमंड उस पे ही है सर?
नहीं, वो कॉन्गो उसका है, वो उसका है अपना, दैट इज सोमालिया. Blood diamond is Somalia.
अच्छा, okay.
Yeah, Angola is not. That book there's a book called Blood Diamond. If you Blood Diamond, that is on Somalia. So in Angola, these guys were there, and therefore the government troops were controlling the towns,
बराबर.
and the rebels were in the countryside. So what the government troops did was they laid minefields around the town so that they can't come inside. Now you can't enter any town by road, and now nobody knows where those mines are. So you had to only fly out and fly in. And there were 9 million such mines all over Angola, जिसका कोई record नहीं है.
अभी.
And therefore people were going around getting blown up, they're losing their legs, vehicles getting blown up, and so on and so forth. So it was a very dangerous thing. And then there were situations where they would not think even twice before shooting a person. There's no cost of life out there. Human life has no value. So we were told that if you're stopped, because people are poor and the United Nations, they know that these guys have money because they're getting US, they're paid in dollars and they got a car. If you're stopped, hand over the car keys and please make sure you have at least $25 in your wallet. Give him your wallet, otherwise he'll shoot you out of frustration that I've stopped a guy and he had got nothing. So those are the kind of situations that were there. So that is something you can probably pull out from
Definitely,
there,
let's start talking, sir. Sir, you have been a part of UN service keeping missions, sir, and ceasefires as well, sir. Abid, as you mentioned, कि 35 countries आई थी, sir. You mentioned पाकिस्तान भी आई थी, sir. Sir, हम दोनों एक different country में थे, आप और पाकिस्तान रेजिमेंट के people. You said you guys bonded over there, sir. तो जब आप उधर मिलते हो सर, और दो दुश्मन नेशन की तरह तो आप देखते नहीं रहोगे सर, तो आप मिलके उनसे बातें करते रहोगे, तो मुझे ये जानना है सर, आप क्या बातें करते हो सर, ऐसी क्या बातें होती है सर जो आप करते हो?
So क्या होता है ना, जब आप वहां पे मिलते हो, at the back of your mind you know कि ये दुश्मन नेशन है, ठीक है ना? So that is something that is holding you back.
Okay.
Yet you are the only two people who speak the same language and are have the same culture, because finally Pakistan came out of India, so there's a lot of similarity amongst your food, the way you speak, the way you behave, and things like that. So there's a dichotomy out here now, where one side you are holding back because you know that just about 6 months before you were looking at each other through the barrels of your guns, and now you're together with the same mission. So that little bit of thing is there, but then I think the maturity that you have, because you are on a mission together for the same objective, you overcome that and you find that you speak of everything. You don't talk of these things which can create chaos, like your military, then 71 की लड़ाई में क्या हुआ, या 65 की लड़ाई में हमने तुमको हरा दिया या तुमने हमको हरा दिया. तो those things are avoided, and you talk only of things which are relevant out there. You talk of the kind of food, music, movies, actors, actresses, those kind of stuff, and that's how you make this thing.
सर मुझे एक बात बताइए, आप उधर 35 कंट्रीज के साथ थे मिलिट्री ऑपरेशंस में सर. सो जो मिलिट्री ऑपरेशंस हो रहे थे वहाँ पे, वेयर डू यू रियलाइज इंडिया वाज लैकिंग? ए, बी, किसकी सबसे स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट मिलिट्री है सर आज की दुनिया में सर?
So these are two different questions.
Absolutely.
आज की जो दुनिया की मिलिट्री रैंकिंग अभी निकली है 4-5 दिन पहले, जिसमें इंडिया इज एट नंबर 4,
ओके,
एंड पाकिस्तान इज एट नंबर 12, ओके, and 1, 2, 3 are US, Russia, and China. Okay? So that is a ranking which keeps coming every year. They take out something. But when you talk of the United Nations missions, our job there was peacekeeping. And 35 nations had contributions made, because finally UN has no troops. There are troops which come from different countries, and India was one of them. And I don't think India was lacking anywhere. Indian troops were the most sought after, because they would go that extra mile more than the others to do things when a task is given to them.
Why is that so, sir?
We are I think temperamentally like that given a task, we go whole hog for it. What would happen there on a Saturday and Sunday? All other countries would be relaxing, going on the beach, partying and stuff like that, but the Indian troops and Indian officers were, for whatever reason, not so inclined, and they would still do some work and put in that extra effort. And they found the normal feeling was that if a task has to be done well, give it to an Indian officer, and it'll be better done. So I don't think India was lacking in any way.
सर आपने बताया आप जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में जब रिलोकेटेड थे सर, आप जब आप मिलिटेंट्स को पकड़ते थे, जब आप पाकिस्तानी टेररिस्ट को पकड़ते थे, पाकिस्तानी मिलिट्री ऑफिसर्स को पकड़ते थे सर, तो जब आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन उनमें से निकालनी होती थी तो आप कैसे, क्या टैक्टिक्स यूज़ करते थे, क्या बिहेवियर था आपका उनकी तरफ?
एक तो आई डोंट थिंक कोई पाकिस्तानी मिलिट्री ऑफिसर ऐसा पकड़ा जाता है.
ओके.
एंड जब हम बात करते हैं टेररिस्ट की, मैं ये बता रहा था कि कुछ टेररिस्ट होते हैं जो कि लोकल टेररिस्ट को ट्रेन करके पाकिस्तान भेजता है, और कुछ वो पाकिस्तानी टेररिस्ट होते हैं, और कुछ जो दाएं बाएं से उन्होंने रिक्रूट किए होते हैं, बिकॉज लाइक टोल्ड यू इट्स ऑल अबाउट मनी. नाउ इन्फॉर्मेशन निकालने के तरीके तो वही होते हैं जो सब जगह इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं. You are basically, you interrogate them. And when interrogation does not work, then you use psychological techniques, and that may not work, and then you might use some other coercive techniques, which are, I think, known to everybody. So all those techniques are used to get information out of people.
सर यू हैव गॉट सो मेनी मेडल्स कि मैं कभी कभी भूल जाता हूँ सर. नो डिसरिस्पेक्ट सर. द वन ऑफ द मोस्ट बिगेस्ट मेडल आपको मिला है बाय द प्रेसिडेंट सर इज अति
विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल.
अति
विशेष सेवा
मेडल,
मेडल.
राइट सर. सर क्या अचीवमेंट्स थी सर, सारी बताइए मुझे सर.
सो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपकी कोई टारगेट अचीव किया है आपने, या कोई आपकी स्पेसिफिक अचीवमेंट होती है.
लाइक कॉर्पोरेट की तरह नहीं चलता है.
इट्स नॉट दैट कि आपको कोई टारगेट मिला तो आपने टारगेट अचीव कर लिया तो आपको अभी यू हैव बीन गिवन वन हॉलिडे टू थाईलैंड और समथिंग लाइक दैट. It's to do with your overall performance. And that performance is assessed by people who are reporting on you. If I'm your boss and I see that your work has been very good at whatever level you're being judged, and this happens at every stage in your life, so then your boss recommends you for an award. And then your boss's boss must also agree. And then that guy's boss must also agree. And then there's a committee which sits down and then evaluates what you've done and your work and all that. So it's not like कि आपने ये काम किया तो आपको मिल गया. वो होता है गैलेंट्री के लिए, कि आप ऑपरेशन में गए, आपने कुछ you have shown extraordinary bravery. उसके लिए आपको अवार्ड के लिए रेकमेंड किया गया. So you can say ये है, इसका साइटेशन है, इसने ये काम किया, इसको महावीर चक्र मिलेगा या इसको वीर चक्र मिलेगा. तो दोज आर फॉर गैलेंट्री अवार्ड्स. बट ये जो अति विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल या विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल या परम विशिष्ट सेवा मेडल, दीज आर फॉर द काइंड ऑफ वर्क यू आर डूइंग व्हिच इज ऑन अ डेली बेसिस.
मेरे को एक बात बताइए सर, रामनाथ कोविंद, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग सर, ने आपको जब मेडल दिया आया, को कैसा फीलिंग हुआ? बिकॉज आपके पीछे ही सर देश के प्रधानमंत्री और होम मिनिस्टर बैठे थे सर. मैंने वो ज़रा देखा था एंड मैंने 2 मिनट के लिए वो रील देख के अपने आप को सिचुएशन में रखा कि अगर मैं होता तो हाउ प्राउड दैट minute would have been for me, sir.
So for me, it didn't matter that Modi ji or the home minister was sitting there. I was more concerned about my wife and my father and my family who was sitting there,
Okay.
And how they would be feeling.
Okay.
And that was a great moment of pride for me. So that made more
value to you, sir.
Value to me, yeah. Because the rest of them are all, I mean, they are a process. They all sit there and watch all the while.
Yeah, absolutely, sir.
So that didn't matter. But yes, that the supreme commander of our armed forces and the first citizen of our nation is bestowing you with an honor in front of your family is what mattered to me.
आज सर अगर आप वो मोमेंट को डिस्क्राइब करना चाहोगे तो कैसे करोगे सर?
एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि ऐसे कोई भी मोमेंट के लिए उस मोमेंट का रेलेवेंस काफी कम हो जाता है, बिकॉज द मोमेंट यू इट इज अनाउंस्ड, a guy like me is already visualizing it in your mind hundreds and thousands of times. I'm going to walk like this, I'm going to stand like this, I'm going to look like this. ये feeling होगी. तो उसका, if I was to put it in a more humorous manner, उसका मजा पहले ही ले चुके होते हैं. And उस समय तक when you are there, then it is only, it's happening.
Yes.
The emotions have already been, absorbed. And then maybe later, once it is over and you go back and you're then introspecting and thinking back around it, then you can start again enjoying the emotions. But at that moment, I think a guy, for me especially, I've already enjoyed the moment earlier.
सर अगर मेडल्स की बात कर ही रहे तो पूरी कर देते हैं अभी। सर आपको 6 मेडल्स मिले सर। आप फ्रॉम
वो IMA में था।
यस
हाँ,
फ्रॉम इंडियन मिलिट्री एकेडमी।
Yeah.
जस्ट टू करेक्ट थिंग्स सर, यहाँ पे शूटिंग में आपको मिला। कैन यू प्लीज़ एक्सप्लेन मी ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड उसके बाद जब आप पास आउट किए सो आपकी जर्नी कैसे रही वहाँ से? तो पहले आप मेरे को मेडल्स बताइए कि कैसे आपने वो मेडल्स को अचीव किया।
So पहले तो मैं बताऊंगा कि जब मैंने NDA ज्वाइन किया,
हम्म,
नेशनल डिफेंस एकेडमी, पहले 3 साल जो मैं बता रहा था,
हम्म।
तो मैं फिजिकली वीक था।
अच्छा, ओके।
पहले 1 साल के लिए मेरे को एक वो ग्रुप ऑफ कैडेट्स बनाते हैं जो कि फिजिकली अनफिट होते हैं, उनको एक्स्ट्रा कोचिंग कराते हैं
अच्छा,
पीटी में, फिजिकल ट्रेनिंग में। तो मैं उसमें था 1 साल के लिए। तो उसमें मैंने फिर बहुत काम किया अपने ऊपर, एंड बाय द टाइम देन आई पास आउट ऑफ IMA, तो मेरे को जो सबसे कवर्टेड मेडल होता है, सोर्ड ऑफ ऑनर for best all-round cadet. We were over 550 cadets who passed out. So उसमें जो भी बेस्ट ऑलराउंड कैडेट होता है उसको सोर्ड ऑफ ऑनर मिलता है।
ओके।
तो एक वो मिला मेरे को। फिर गोल्ड मेडल मिला मेरे को, जो कि बेस्ट फर्स्ट इन ऑर्डर ऑफ मेरिट होता है।
ओके।
मेरिट इज बेस्ड ऑन योर एकेडमिक्स एंड योर फिजिकल एंड ऑल दैट, पूरा लिस्ट बना के। फिर उसके बाद शूटिंग का जो कंपटीशन होता है, राइफल शूटिंग में मेरे को बेस्ट शॉट मिला था। आई वाज फर्स्ट इन शूटिंग। देन आई गॉट बेस्ट इन मार्चिंग।
मार्चिंग,
हाँ, ड्रिल जो होता है ना,
हाँ।
मार्चिंग का एक उसका भी मेडल होता है, वो मिला मेरे को। फिर बेस्ट इन फिजिकल फिटनेस, देयर इज अ मेडल कॉल्ड पैरा मेडल, पैराशूट रेजिमेंटल मेडल। इट इज स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय देम बिकॉज पैराशूट रेजिमेंट और पैरा कमांडोज इज मेंट टू बी द फिटेस्ट पीपल इन द इंडियन आर्मी। तो उन्होंने एक मेडल रखा है टू बी गिवन टू दैट कैडेट हु इज द बेस्ट इन फिजिकल फिटनेस। सो आई गॉट दैट मेडल, and then I got a medal for being the first amongst the cadets who are joining the Armored Corps.
Okay.
Yeah, so that made it 6 medals, which was a record.
And then you came out of that.
Yeah, and then of course I passed out and I joined my regiment.
सर मेरे को एक बात बताइए, if I have a small achievement in my life now, I would love to talk about it so loud, right? I don't see that in you. आज एक जब 20-year-old आर्मी ज्वाइन करेगा तो आप मुझे बताओ कि उसकी मोटिवेशन क्या रहनी चाहिए सर?
See, पहले तो आप आर्मी किस लिए ज्वाइन कर रहे हो, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है।
ओके।
So some people join the army just because it's a good job. Okay. Some join it because they are passionate about the army. And those who are passionate about the army, or for any, why only the army? When you're passionate about your job, then the motivation is not an issue. But if you're joining just because it's a job which gives you respect, it gives you dignity, it gives you, job surety, and money or whatever you are looking for in a job, then motivation needs to come for you to perform, because money and these kind of things don't bring about motivation. Okay, motivation comes out of passion. So if you are looking for uska kya outlook hona chahiye, I think the best thing I can say to a person who's joining the army is love your job. And the moment you take that love your job, then you will find that all the hardships which are part of a job become easy because you're enjoying it. If you enjoy your job, then there's no hardship.
सर आप आर्मी से कौन से एज में रिटायर हुए सर?
58.
तो सर आपने उसी साल से भागना भी चालू कर दिया, मतलब एक पैशन कहाँ से आया?
भागता तो मैं पहले भी था, बट आयरन मैन मैंने 58 पे किया।
वही सर, मतलब 58 पे मैं आई एम रियली शॉक्ड एंड आई एम आस्किंग यू दिस एज अ पर्सन सर। आई नो सर आपको ट्रेनिंग्स मिली है, सब कुछ मिला, बट एक नॉर्मल बॉडी 58 में आयरन मैन, Spain, no, not Spain, Austria first, when you added, and then you won that, having that fitness level, वो क्या था सर? मुझे आप मेरे को प्लीज एक्सप्लेन कीजिए वो पूरा जर्नी, बिकॉज वो 1-2 घंटे का रन नहीं है सर, वो 14 घंटे का है, इज व्हाट आई अंडरस्टूड सर।
हाँ, मैंने 14 घंटे में किया, मगर उसमें क्या होता है कि 3 डिसिप्लिन होते हैं। पहले तो आपको स्विमिंग करना है।
अच्छा।
3.8 किलोमीटर का स्विमिंग होता है, जो कि ऑस्ट्रिया में तो इट वाज इन अ लेक, ह्यूज लेक, नॉर्मली सी में होता है, यहाँ लेक में होता है, डिपेंडिंग कौन सी कंट्री में आप कर रहे हो. तो 3.8 किलोमीटर्स का स्विमिंग हुआ, उसके बाद आपको 180 किलोमीटर्स की साइकिलिंग करनी है. And then you have to do a full marathon of 42.2 kilometers. And all three you have to do back to back within 17 hours आपको ख़त्म करना है. So वो उसमें मैंने 14 घंटे और 21 मिनट में ये कंप्लीट किया
सर
था.
8 घंटे तो हम गिन के नहीं बैठते सर काम करने को.
हाँ, तो इसमें तो जब आप साइकिल चलाते हो 180 किलोमीटर और अगर आप 30 किलोमीटर की स्पीड एवरेज करोगे तब आपको 6 घंटे लगते हैं. So if you travel from Delhi to Chandigarh by car, it takes you 5 hours. And then you say मैं थक गया, मैं तो 5 घंटे कर कार चला के आया हूँ. So I'm just saying that to give you an idea of how tedious it is to do it.
Sir, you mentioned in one of your reels that that first 20 minutes में ही आपको cramps आने लगे थे. And आपने उसको ओवरकम किया by with your mom, you seeing your visuals of your mom like you can do it. मेरे को उसका फीलिंग बताइए and let go through it. मेरे को बताइए.
So that was not first 20 minutes.
Okay.
क्या हुआ था कि मैंने पहले तो स्विमिंग की, 3.8 किलोमीटर्स का मेरा स्विमिंग हो गया. आई थिंक 1 hour 30 minutes I took. Then quickly you wear your cycling shoes and you go for this 180 kilometers of cycling. उसमें मैंने 150 किलोमीटर कवर कर चुका था मैं. That is when this happened. So 30 kilometers are still left. And I started finding that the road is turning black. Like you start, when you're getting unconscious, you have that blackout. वैसा हो रहा था. Because you are in that position, I'd already been on the bike for about 6 hours by then. ठीक है. उससे पहले स्विमिंग का आप लगा लो 1.5 घंटा, एंड तो तकरीबन 7.5-8 घंटे आई हैड ऑलरेडी बीन मूविंग. तो आई स्टार्टेड फीलिंग लो ऑन एनर्जी बिकॉज ऑस्ट्रिया में जो इंक्लाइंस हैं, ओवरऑल एलिवेशन जो इस 180 किलोमीटर में आप कवर करते हो इज अबाउट 6,000 feet. So not only are you going 180 like this, you're also going 6,000 feet up. So I was very exhausted. And I found the road blackening and I started getting visions that अभी मेरे को ड्रॉप आउट करना पड़ेगा. और मैंने 18 महीने ट्रेनिंग की थी. And I thought that अगर मैं ड्रॉप आउट अभी हो गया तो पूरा वो it'll all be put to zero, put to naught. So I didn't want that to happen. So I got worried, like now I was panicking that I'm blacking out. And that moment I remembered an incident which had happened with me when I was training. So in the month of June, I was carrying out my last training run, 35 kilometers का run था दिल्ली में. And Sunday था, बहुत गर्मी थी, humidity थी. And 30 kilometers मेरे हो गए थे जब मेरे को बहुत severe cramping हुई chest में और stomach में. And it was so severe I fell on the road. It was around 10:30, 11 in the morning. And this was in front where the embassies are in Delhi. So because of that area, there hardly anybody on the road because it's all embassy area. So I got concerned because when you cramp in your stomach and your chest, you can get a cardiac arrest. But luckily, 30 seconds, 1 minute, the cramps went away. And I stood up again and I had 5 kilometers to go. But I realized that running is getting impossible. I can't move because of that cramps had taken a lot of toll on my body. So I started initially walking. और फिर मैंने slowly क्या किया, I synchronized my breathing with my running. I started to jog. So I thought I'll take 3 steps. In that I'll inhale. And next 3 steps I'll exhale. So I built up a rhythm of inhale, exhale, and I found that I got into a rhythm and I could gradually go into a jog and I completed the 5 kilometers and I finished that run and I forgot about the incident. Now this day on the cycle, when I started to cramp and I got panicky, I remembered what had happened in that incident. And so I started to synchronize my cycling, my pedaling with my breath. And when I did this in about 5-7 minutes, I built up a tempo and I got magically transported. I suddenly saw my mom who had passed away about 4-5 years earlier. I saw her face, big face in the sky. I mean, I was not looking there, but that's the vision I got. And she was smiling at me. And that gave me so much of energy. I felt like there was a bolt of energy coming from her into me. I had tears coming down my eyes. I felt goosebumps. I suddenly felt energetic and I completed the balance 30 kilometers. It was a life-changing experience. So that's what had happened.
सर ये तो 14 घंटे में ख़त्म कर लिया सर, उसके बाद वापस आयरन मैन जर्मनी में जाके 13 आवर्स 40 मिनट्स में ख़त्म करना, देन गोइंग टू आयरन मैन स्पेन। 58 की उम्र में वो लेवल पे ट्रेनिंग होना एंड वो लेवल पे 13 आवर्स पे ये इतनी रिगरस एक्सरसाइजेस करना, एंड नाउ यू सिटिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी लाइक नथिंग हैज़ हैपेंड। वाओ, लाइक
No, I'm training for the next Ironman. Don't say nothing has happened. Next year, I'm planning to do my 4th Ironman. And this time, my son has also agreed to do it with me. So hopefully, we'll both do it together.
how's your relationship with your son, sir? Is it are you training him as well, sir?
Well, he lives in Ireland, in Dublin, so I
Okay.
can't train him like that. But yes, he is taking tips from me, and he's here, for 2 weeks now, and we're going to go for a run in the morning tomorrow. We'll do a run together so that I can share some tips with him, like that. Yeah.
So
Our
tell me,
relationship is very
when you got to know that you you have a son, right? And
good. I have
जब
2 sons.
you have 2 sons, right? And अब इतने साल उनसे दूर रहे सर, तो मुझे बस इतना बताओ सर कि वो जो रिलेशनशिप बिल्ड होती है सर, जब आप उनको रेगुलरली कांटेक्ट नहीं कर पाते हो आपके फैमिलीज को, तो वो हमेशा एक डर का रहता है कि हमारे लोग वापस आएंगे नहीं आएंगे, तो वो कैसा रहा है सर, मेरे को वो बताओ।
So I must tell you that हाँ ऐसे होता है, and because you're so busy and posted here, there and there, before you know your children are gone, and it happened in my case also. So my younger son was in Bombay. He was, aspiring to be an actor there. The elder guy was in Google, and he was in Hyderabad that time. But luckily for us, and I call it luckily, COVID came. So when COVID came, they both came back. Okay. And then for those 2 years, we were in a house together. And we relived or lived everything that we had missed out earlier. So when they got back, first 3 months was like, a little tough because everybody had got so used to living by themselves and doing things on their own. And then slowly that bonding came back, and I really thank COVID because we had super family bonding time with all, both my sons, my wife and me. We all together in a house, and like everybody else was locked in, and so were we. But we enjoyed that, and we rebonded again.
सर आज का जो जियोपॉलिटिक्स है वो इतना ऊपर नीचे है सर, एंड ये सर इट इज़ नॉट अ पॉलिटिक्स क्वेश्चन सर, बिकॉज मैंने एक चीज़ नोटिस की है कि हर बार जब गवर्नमेंट चेंज हुई है नहीं हुई है, इंडिया की फॉरेन पॉलिसी सेम ही रही है सर। इट्स नो फर्स्ट अटैक पॉलिसी सर, वी डोंट टेक साइड्स, सो दिस हैज़ बिन अ पार्ट। मुझे एक बात बताओ सर कि जब इसमें मिलिट्री रोल कैसे प्ले करती है, जब आप पे अटैक होता है देन यू गो एन अटैक ए, लेकिन वो जब रिवेंज आता है कि नहीं अभी तो अटैक भी करना है, नेक्स्ट टाइम से वो होने भी नहीं देना चाहिए, राइट? वो एटीट्यूड कैसे बिल्ड करते हैं सर? लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दैट।
So be a little more specific. Tell me what you are hinting at.
ओके, आई एम हिंटिंग एट कि पहले कैसे हम लोग के पास एक एटीट्यूड था जवानों में कि पहले एक कहावत है, बुरा मत मानना सर प्लीज़, क्योंकि पहले अगर आपको किसी को मारना है तो आपको दिल्ली में परमिशन लेनी पड़ती थी। आज सिचुएशन थोड़ी डिफरेंट है सर, आज शूट एट साइट ऑर्डर्स हैं हम लोग के पास, तो वो शिफ्ट कैसे हुआ सर?
So you asked me this question earlier.
ओके,
that military का जो strength है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर से कैसे आता है? सो ये वही बात है, अगर आपकी गवर्नमेंट इज बोल्ड एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग, देन दे गिव यू मोर लीवे, बिकॉज अदरवाइज यू आर फाइटिंग विद योर हैंड्स टाइड बिहाइंड योर बैक. सो जो आप बता रहे हो कि पहले परमिशन लेना पड़ता था, वो यही था कि आपको द गवर्नमेंट डिडंट वांट टू टेक अ चांस दैट अगर उन्होंने खुला छूट दे दिया तो यहाँ पे रोज ही फायरिंग हो जाएगी, एंड दे वर स्कैर्ड of what the consequences would be from the other side. So that shows that the government was not probably as strong. But once you are strong and firm, and you told your commanders that, listen, if somebody does something, you can retaliate, because you are then giving them that you have that faith in their capability, that they will do the right thing. So it is not only that you are yourself strong, but you're also secure that your commanders will not let you down. So that is the shift which happens, and that will change with the kind of government you have in power.
सर ये आप मुझे बताओ सर, और बताना सर, ये मैं हर एक से पूछता हूँ कि इंडिया ने हमेशा बहुत पावरफुल लीडर्स नॉर्थ से सबसे ज़्यादा देखे। आप इंदिरा गांधी जी को ले लीजिए, आप किसी को भी ले लीजिए, बहुत से लीडर्स नॉर्थ से निकल के आए हैं फॉर नॉट ओनली द प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स रोल, एनी ऑफ द रोल्स सर। वो क्यों है सर? मतलब लाइक, डू यू अग्री विथ मी ऑन दैट? डू यू?
Well, I don't think you have any statistics really to say that only North से strong leaders थे और South से नहीं थे, or if there are examples specifically. So I don't think I can comment on that कि North से ज़्यादा strong leaders होते हैं या
Sir,
नहीं
I
होते।
don't want you to comment on that. Let's shift the question more, sir. Sir, जितने भी हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स रहे, फ्रॉम नेहरू टिल मोदी ईयर, कैसे ऐसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स लगे जिन्होंने मिलिट्री एक्शंस में बहुत इंडिया को आगे बढ़ाया है सर? बिकॉज मेरे हिसाब से इंदिरा गांधी ने, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने, मैं एक और नाम भूल गया, बहुत एक्शंस में ड्रिफ्ट किया है मिलिट्री को आगे, एक डिफरेंट पिक्चर क्रिएट किया है टुवर्ड्स द वर्ल्ड हम लोग के लिए। तो आपके हिसाब से ऐसे कैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स रहे सर?
वैसे I will tell you now, let's talk of Indira Gandhi. And the 71 war is what you're talking of, where we got 90,000 prisoners. And so that was a super victory, which was unprecedented. After World War, never have so many prisoners of war been taken by our country. But the same government tied your hands behind your back when you said that you can't fire without taking permission from Delhi. So these are situational things, okay? And what goes behind such decisions, you and me won't know, because there is always a reason, and that reason could be many things. So it will be unfair to comment that North का prime minister था तो bold थे और नहीं थे तो इतने bold नहीं थे, because we don't know the inside story of what the background was or what are the compulsions of that person or that government to have given this decision. But yes, I agree the decision was not right. You have to have faith in your commanders. You have to give them that leeway to be able to react in an appropriate manner. And unless they do that, you will not find a solution coming out of whatever is happening out there. है ना?
सर, यूएस नेक्स्ट 30 कंट्रीज से ज़्यादा अपने डिफेंस को स्पेंड करता है सर, राइट? उनका डिफेंस बजट इज़ लाइक एनीथिंग, लाइक यू कांट थिंक ऑफ, ऐसा है सर। सर, उसके यूएस के मिलिट्री बेसिस है ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड, चाइना के मिलिट्री बेसिस है ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड। चाइना हैज़ ट्राइड टू स्ट्रैंगल अस इन द इंडियन ओशन सर, अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स सर, एंड नाउ चाइना हैज़ द बिगेस्ट नेवी इन द वर्ल्ड सर, the fiercest navy, because US कहा जाता है US is the fiercest air force and China is the fiercest navy. So what do you think sir, हम लोग ने जो अपने bases बनाए, because we have also tried our bases around China, because उनका जो स्ट्रेट है जिधर उनका 30% ऑफ द ट्रेड आता है, उधर हमारे 2 बेसिस है सर उनको स्ट्रैंगल करने के लिए। तो सर ये जब प्लानिंग होती है तो सिर्फ ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इनकी प्लानिंग करते हैं, या हाउ दिस ऑल इज, मतलब इतने एक्सीलेंट तरह से कैसे उसको प्लान किया जाता है सर?
Firstly, I want to tell you that you can't compare these examples that you gave.
Okay.
The US has never fought a war on its own territory. The US has always fought a war in other people's countries. Okay.
They've created a war, not
Whether you create a war or you fought a war, Second World War, whatever time. So their entire might is for operating overseas. And therefore, these islands which they have their bases on, and they have a strong navy, but everything outside. Never. The first time US was struck was 9/11.
Yes.
Never before. Okay. Now let's get to China. China is expanding. And China's biggest competitor is India in Asia. Okay. And so China's string of pearl, what you said, strangling and string of pearl policy of Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and all the countries around us, because finally they are looking at India as a competitor and how they can get an edge over India. Now they don't have the strongest navy in the world, China.
Okay.
They have just recently got 2 aircraft carriers and now building it.
But
Now they are
even-
developing their
But even we got, right? INS Vikrant and one.
But when you said that they have the strongest navy, no, it's not.
Okay.
Okay. But that notwithstanding, now India, we are more concerned. So we call ourselves defense services. Okay.
Yes,
We
I
want to
agree.
defend our country.
Yes.
And we are doing or building our capability for whatever is required to defend our country. And therefore, whether you look at a navy or an air force or an army, we are looking inwards and we secure ourselves. Okay. And very, very rarely has India ventured out, and maybe IPKF went to Sri Lanka or Maldives mein koi coup hua, so we sent some people. But that's about all. I don't think anywhere else we intend to go and do what America is doing, fighting, creating wars like that. So everybody has a different policy. But like I told you initially in the rankings we spoke of, India is ranked 4th, just after China. Okay. But then these are all theoretical stuff. So it's to do with your might, it's to do with your motivation, to do with your economy, and so much more. Because finally, you and me could be having the same weapons, same everything, but if I have more courage, if I have better training, and these are training and stuff cannot be quantified. When they make this 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not based on training. It's not based on the morale. It's only based on factual things like weapon equipment size and stuff like that. So it's a very complex thing to say which country is strong, which is good or bad like that. So I think that's how we should look at it.
But sir, today having this conversation has been my honor, seriously, because रोज इतने मोटिवेशन के साथ पॉडकास्ट करने नहीं मिलते मुझे. I have a lot to do with business podcast, sales podcast. बट सर इतना इमोशन लेके मैंने कभी बात नहीं किया. आई होप सर मैंने थोड़ा अच्छा जॉब किया सर. बट
I think you did a great job and I enjoyed myself talking to you.
but today I think you have created a lot of value to a lot of people, and I hope this works, sir. I won't give you a confirmation on it because even I don't know, sir. But thanks for coming on this podcast, sir, because हम लोग का कोर वैल्यू हमेशा एक ही रहा है, इज टू क्रिएट वैल्यू टू एवरीवन हु इज लिसनिंग टू दिस, सर. तो आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस एक्स्ट्रावैगेंट रहे. यू हैव क्रिएटेड an aura, sir, because I'll tell you, when you walk in, you feel like someone is coming in, and that's what Indian military is training, and it's nothing exceptional that I'm talking about. But it was seriously a pleasure doing with you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav. I had a great time with you and it's a pleasure meeting you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.